Hello, and today we're doing Premier League. Championship predictions for match day number 28 of the 2020 to 21 season. And there's 12 games to predict this week. It's going to be a good one, and let's get straight into it. Currently, Villa are playing against West Ham. Come on, Jack Grealish. I know you can get at least 3 goals. Come on, son. And also, Mo Salah hat-trick is going to come. I'm sure of it. But the point is, this week, we are looking at game week 28 of the championship. And basically, the theme of the week this week is actually going to be Dr. Doolittle, the man that can speak to animals. Yo, cow, what are you saying? So, yeah, he can talk to all animals. And what is the colour of the week? It's going to be green. It's going to be dark green. But the song of the week is a tough one this week. However, I am just feeling a little bit of, I'm on a highway to hell. Now, I actually don't know who sings that, so I might have to actually check that for you. So let me just... It's AC/DC, of course it is. I knew that. But let's get into these predictions. So the first game to do is between Barnsley and Derby County. Now, it's a big game in the table because Barnsley haven't been the best of teams this season to watch. Derby, you'd probably say the same. But since Rooney's come in, they've started to get a few important results. A very good win last time out. I say last time out, but against Bristol City, it was a very good win. And then against Rotherham, obviously, that was a game you kind of felt it was a bit of a 6-pointer because both Rotherham and Derby were really struggling this season. And I don't know, going into this one, I feel Derby have to get the win. So I'm going to say 2-0 to Derby. Oh, no, I'm not. Sorry, I'm going to say 2-1 to Derby. So for this first game of the predictions, we're saying Barnsley 1, Derby County 2. And this time, we're going to say goal scorers will in fact be, first of all, it's going to be Martin Waghorn for the away side. Then Barnsley hit back with a goal from Corley Woodrow. And Derby make it safe with a goal from the midfielder, Bird. Alright, now we've got a game between Bournemouth and Birmingham. Now, I think this is going to be a comfortable Bournemouth win. It's interesting that they have sacked the manager, Jason Tindall. Now, do I think that's a good idea? Well, Bournemouth have slightly been off the rails a little bit, not getting as many wins and struggling a little bit. They obviously got beaten by Reading, but that was a game you'd probably say would be tight anyway. And then their game against Sheffield Wednesday, So I think it's an interesting decision. Bournemouth clearly are very ambitious this season, wanting to get promoted. And if they're seeing a little stutter in the success path to success, then they've chopped him out. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. But I think Birmingham, the team they're facing, are a decent side, but they just don't really score enough goals. So I think Bournemouth will be back with a bang here, and I'll say it will end Bournemouth 1, Birmingham 0. And the winner for the Cherries, I predict, will come from the man that goes by the name. It is... Who is it? It's the guy that got the winner against Stoke City about a month ago. That is, of course, Junior Stanislas. Alright, now we've got a game between Bristol City and Cardiff. Now, I feel like this might be a tougher game for Bristol City on paper than it is in terms of how the table is looking. Obviously, Cardiff have really struggled. I mean, on their day, Cardiff are a good team, but this season it's just not really gone to plan. And 8 games, I think with Cardiff, they really need to start climbing up there because 8 games won, 7 drawn, and 11 defeats in 26 is not good enough. So they need to be winning their games that they have in front of them. But I think they will here. Bristol City have equally been quite bad, but they are higher up in the table. And, they obviously got the win against Huddersfield, against Brentford, tough one. But I do think this one will be a good one for Cardiff. So I think 1-0 to Cardiff City in this one, with the winning goal for the away side. Let's say it comes for the defender that goes by the name of, it is Joe Bennett. Alright, now we've got a game between Coventry City and Watford. Now, this is not a great game in the fact that I think it might be tight. I think it might be nervy. Our performance against QPR was simply unacceptable, not good enough. And now I go into this with a lot more fear in a game where otherwise you'd have said it'd be a comfortable one. And Coventry have really shown fight this season. You know, I think I like their style of play. They are doing just about enough at the minute to stay up, but they did lose to Nottingham Forest recently. So that was an interesting result. Getting a point with Birmingham and Gustavo Hamer is going to be such a threat for us to stop. So we need to really be making sure we limit their chances down that side. And also, I think, you know, they can be quite a good team in the first half of games. And we always seem to be terrible in the first half. So if we can start well, it's going to be massive, because we might go down 2-0 and then the game's done and we can't even rescue what should be a comfortable win, given the sizes of the clubs. But Coventry, as I said, they've got the fight in them and they've got some good players. Whether they'll stay up this season is another question, but for now they're doing decent stuff. And I think they're winning against the teams you'd expect, really, against the likes of Sheffield Wednesday and Millwall. But they've had a few, you know, unlucky games, you'd say. So certainly the one against Sheffield Wednesday, how they lost that with the goal from Tom Lees. But I think that Coventry will lose again. I've got to be optimistic for my lads. And I think we're just going to do a classic Watford win. Grind it out, no confidence, and it's cagey stuff. But at the end of the day, we need the wins, because against QPR, it was absolutely dreadful. And if we can get the playoffs, then brilliant. If not, we're not going to get promoted. It's as simple as that. And we haven't brought in a striker to help us do automatic promotion. So, you know, we kind of just have to stick with what we've got, which is a painful situation. But let's hope we can do enough in this game. So I'll say Coventry 0, Watford 1. And the man that gets the winner for the Golden Boys, Ken Sema. And it's going to be on 73rd minute. Right, now we've got a game between Luton Town and Huddersfield. Now, going into this game, you know, Luton, their game that they played quite recently against Blackburn was, you know, pretty unlucky on their part. They were in the game for a long time and Blackburn snatched it through Adam Armstrong. And they go into this game, I think, probably comfortable favourites, because at home Luton have been quite a good team this season. They obviously lost to QPR, but they've beaten some decent teams. They've beaten the likes of Norwich City and got a point against Blackburn Rovers at home, but obviously lost the last one. Now, in the reverse fixture, it finished 1-1 between these two, with goals coming on the day from George Moncur and Carol Eating. But I don't think either of them will score tonight. I think it will be a comfortable win for Luton. They are a good team, especially at home. So we'll say 3-1 to the Hatters, with goals coming from, first of all, it's going to be the midfielder, Ruddock, and then Luton get their second through Lockyer, the number 15 centre-back. He's not 15 years old, that'd be pretty impressive. And then I think Luton get their third goal to really drive home the win, and that will come through the forward, James Collins. But then I think that they will get a late consolation, the away side, Huddersfield Town, and that consolation will come through the man that plays at the back for the Terriers. He is known as Pippa. Alright, now we've got a game between Middlesbrough and Brentford. Now this is an interesting game. Middlesbrough haven't been a great team to watch this season, whereas Brentford have. And, you know, this was supposed to be played quite recently against Middlesbrough. But I think it was, it was an FA Cup game. And obviously that was a much changed team with Godos and Dervis Zoglu getting the winners there. But this is an interesting matchup because, you know, Brentford will really want to go into this getting a win. And they drew the reverse fixture 0-0 with Borough. So it's not an easy place to go, is the Middlesbrough Stadium. And I think that Middlesbrough really go for this one. But once again, like that Blackburn game, I think they're going to lose this one by 0-1. And will the goal for Brentford come as, you know, as late in the second half as the Blackburn one? I don't think so. I think Brentford will get a goal early on through Ivan Toney on 21 minutes, and that will be enough to win the 3 points. Now we've got Millwall taking on Sheffield Wednesday, and this sees the team sitting in 14th. Well, that's before the game against Norwich, but sitting in 14th against the team that is sitting currently in 22nd. So you'd fancy Sheffield Wednesday to maybe get a draw here, because Millwall, yes, they look all right in the table, but their form has not been great. Their football has not been great, and I think that both these teams have been a bit of a disappointment. But we'll say Millwall 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. And now we've got Preston against Rotherham. This could be a good game to watch in the fact that Rotherham are quite leaky defensively, and Preston, we know they can score goals going forward through the likes of the midfielder that goes by the name of, who is it? It is, yes, Scott Sinclair. And also they've got quite a good forward in Jakobsen. Emmy Reese Jakobsen, of course. But I think that Preston are going to get the win. And I think it's going to be a tight game to call. But 3-2 to the home side with 2 goals from the mentioned Jakobsen. And then I think Rotherham get back a consolation in the game, which doesn't really, change the outcome. But ultimately, it's an important goal for Rotherham because they just think they have a little bit of belief, and it's through Lindsay to make it 2-1. And then Rotherham get an equaliser against all the odds, and that is scored by the defender who's in my fantasy team. It's Richard Wood. What a cracking player. And then finally, the winner for Preston to basically snatch it from Rotherham's hands and absolutely get a massive win for Preston to try and get into that top half of the table. It's going to come, the goal, through the defender that is Huntington. And of course, talking of Preston's defenders, Ben Davies has gone to Liverpool. Interesting one. And now we've got a game between QPR and Blackburn. This is a tough one to call again because QPR, whenever I look at them, they seem to be doing badly. And then against Watford, they did a really good win. You know, that was an upset. And they actually have been on a decent run of form. So I think they might get a point here against Blackburn. They're just, starting to get more games over the line. Obviously, the win against Cardiff was impressive. And the loss against Derby was annoying. But if you look at their form recently, they've just been getting points here or there against Stoke and Wickham and Norwich, which has not been bad. So I think they'll get another point here against Blackburn. So I think QPR will get the opening goal through their main danger man. It's Charlie Austin. And I actually think QPR will score again. So they'll sail into a 2-0 lead in this game. And that second goal comes from the midfielder, Tom Carroll. And then I think that Blackburn will just basically do a miracle, basically work a miracle in this game. And the goals to get them the comeback draw, I think will come from, let's say, first of all, it is going to be the man that is known as John Buckley. And then I think that the second for Rovers will come through, let's say, Barry Douglas. All right, now we've got the third last game that is Stoke against Reading. And this is another tough one to call because Stoke are a defensively solid side, quite stubborn. And they got a 1-1 draw with Huddersfield. Stephen Fletcher is always a threat, and it was a horrible tackle to deny a goal-scoring opportunity from Norrington Davies. But they face a Reading team here that are really doing well this season. However, you know what they say, that at the Britannia Bets 365 Stadium, Stoke is a tough place to go, and I think it will be for Reading. So I'll say Stoke 1, Reading 1, with goals coming from Jordan Thompson for Stoke, and then the equaliser for the Royals, I predict will come from not Lucas João because he's just getting too many goals and it's getting boring. But instead, I think the goal will come from Yaku Matey. Right, now we've got Swansea against Norwich, a massive, massive clash at the top of the table. It's of course second against first, and there's just 5 points separating them. So how this one swings, I have no clue. It's got to be said. But I am going to go for a draw because I think against Norwich, Millwall put up a fight and Norwich didn't really have much chance to score goals. And against Middlesbrough, it was the same story. So you can see some struggles in front of goal for the Canaries. And Swansea, we know, are very good at home in terms of their home form. Freddie Woodman, a very good goalkeeper, keeps clean sheets. So I can just see this being an anticlimax, not necessarily a 0-0, but a draw on the day. So it will be tough for both attacks to penetrate through, and it will be the points shared at the Liberty Stadium. So Swansea 1, Norwich City 1. And goals, I think, will come first through Jamal Lowe, very good player for the Canaries. But then Norwich get the equaliser, which really does benefit them more than Swansea, with them being top of the table. And that equaliser for the Canaries will come through Alex Tettey. And now we've got the final game. It's Wycombe against Nottingham Forest. And Wycombe really have to go all guns blazing for this one. Now, Forest have brought in James Garner and Glenn Murray, which is an interesting one. And Wycombe are really punching above their weight this season. Realistically, they will go down. They're still bottom on 16 points. And you just feel it's going to be an uphill struggle, really. This game against Forest, though, is the last one of the match day. 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. And in the reverse fixture, it was a comfortable 2-0 win for Forest. And I'm going to go for that Forest win again. It's not going to be 2-0 this time, though. However, I do think there'll be the same 2 goals from Forest. So, Wycombe Wanderers 1, Forest 2. And Wycombe will score first, I think. And they will get the goal through the man that is going by the name of Uche Ikpeazu. What an absolute player. He used to play for Watford and he's in great form. But then Forest reply with 2 from Lyle Taylor to make it 2-1 to Chris Hughton's team. And that wraps up my predictions for match day 28 of the Championship. I hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on the video. I was getting it out early ahead of the weekend. And hopefully you can pop in your predictions and we'll give them a look. We'll rate them the 3 points for the correct result, the 5 points for the result and the goal difference, and 8 points for the correct score on top of that. So thanks for watching this one, and I shall see you next time.